Into the mountains, referring to the very nasty accident he had when we went into the Pyrenees.
On stage 9, and he went into the falling Richie Port. Boy, one night we showed you pictures, he could hardly walk from his bike to sit down. He was in so much pain. But what a great, courageous bike rider he is. Now, Chris Froome in yellow, only 2 teammates left. Landa directly in front of him, Kwiatkowski setting the pace. The others will be licking their lips now. But they're going to have to move soon, Paul. The leaders are only 5.5 kilometres from the top. These 4 together being outwitted at the moment by a Slovenian rider.
Well, look at that gap. That's a pretty serious gap. It's coming over to us at around about 20 seconds. But as we go around that corner, Phil, that's more than 20 seconds.
And he's got his rhythm too. And this could be a huge result for Primož Roglič. Now we are hearing that Kwiatkowski is gone, and there he is. His legs are done for. We've seen that before. He gives his all and then just has to get home. Now we're down to Landa and then the yellow jersey. And there's Michael Landa himself, is in 5th place in this race. Now he's going to have to pull Sky. They dropped off, Paul, but we're still looking for them about 6 kilometres to the summit.
Yeah, well, that's still going to be about 15 to 17 minutes to the top of the climb. To put it all into perspective, Roglič has got a half a minute advantage over the 4 chasers. Villermoz from AG2 La Mondiale, a teammate of Romain Bardet. He's been left behind by that group, but not a surprise because we're seeing an unbelievable tempo being led by Team Sky. That's Landa on the front now, just coming off the back. It's Warren Barguil.
Caruso has also gone as they go off the back. Now I think you'll find we've got Froome, Aru, Bardet, Uran, Landa and Yates and Martin, and they are the top 7 riders in the Tour de France, and they are all locked together. Here they are. It's Landa who rides on the front. Landa is in 5th place. Froome is in 1st place. Aru sits in 2nd place. As Menkes is also here. He's in 8th place. The men that have made this race are now locked together as they come towards the top of the Galibier.
Rigoberto Urán is just sitting on the back of that group as well. Now, this is the 2nd group of riders. Well, we're back to the yellow jersey group because this is where the race is being fought out. Mikel Landa doing a phenomenal job. There is Urán. You've got Froome in yellow. You've got the Italian champion Aru. You've got Bardet next. Then in the green jersey, it's Urán. Then Menkes. Then Simon Yates. All of the men are there.
The 2 off the back are Warren Barguil and Caruso, but they've got themselves onto the tail of this group. It's an amazing group, and these are the riders who've dictated the Tour all of the way for 2.5 weeks. Simon Yates is still here in the white.
Looks like Barguil has done a phenomenal job. There's a bit of an attack coming now.
Well, this is the first attack that we have seen. This will be Atapuma. This is from the group up front. And that's Serge Powell's there. Contador, Atapuma trying to bridge.
Yeah, but look at the gap he's got to try and get across to Roglič. He's still looking to bridge 40 seconds. But a Colombian rider, Darwin Atapuma, he will be used to these kind of attitudes. We talk about the altitude for Rigoberto Urán. Well, it's the same for this man too.
Contador digging deep now. He planned the whole day to win this stage. He came across to the leaders. He's got rid of all his teammates, have done the best for him. Now it's down to him. Meanwhile, the chase for the yellow jersey. And this is Landa, followed by Froome. Aru is the rider on the right. Bardet is the white helmet in the middle of them, waiting. Known for his attacking riding. Rigoberto Urán just tucked in behind. Meanwhile, Dan Martin's off on a mission, but he's not going too far just now.
Well, he opened up a reasonable gap, and it's now down to just 11 seconds. And you see how there's no real quick response coming from Mikel Landa. All he does is just picks up the pace a fraction and slowly claws his way back, and that stops riders making that acceleration that Christian was talking about. Watch out for Aru though here. He's trying to come up alongside Chris Froome.
Well,
he should be in the gutter.
A good time to attack is as you catch a breakaway. Simon Yates is at the back of this group as well, and he's only 1 second ahead of Dan Martin.
But what I was just talking about a few moments ago about the difficulty with the wind up towards the top of this climb, Phil. You've got Barguil has made the move there, and he's got a Frenchman with him, and
It's Warren Barguil, but he's got Bardet on his wheel, and a reaction from Froome goes around Landa, jumps onto the wheel of the man he fears most, Romain Bardet. They've brought back with that one acceleration Dan Martin, and Warren Barguil goes to the front.
Now, let's not forget well, I'm thinking there are 5 riders in front of us, so that would mean there is still King of the Mountain points available for Warren Barguil, and that's what he's thinking about. There's Roglic, Atapuma, then 3 riders, so we're looking at a 6th place finish for Warren Barguil if he can pull it all back together, and that's why he made that acceleration.
Absolutely right. And he's going to go for those points now, and there may not be a reaction here, and there isn't, because he's the least wanted by those boys back there, and so Warren Barguil, I think, will be free to fly up.
Well, there you go. He's caught another rider. It's always a bit complicated in the mountains because you're never quite sure who's been caught and who hasn't from the early breakaway. Yes, that's Bryce Felu.
Well, I'll tell you, Paul, I've no idea now because there's so many riders dropped from that original 20-odd rider breakaway. I'm not sure where they all are. But he's knocking them off one by one. This is the leader now, writing a little bit of history for himself, Roglic.
Well, he's 4 kilometres from the summit. That's around about 2.5 miles. And again, still 11, 12 minutes. But look at the flags. Every time they take a turn, they pick up a tailwind. Then they turn around a corner, they pick up a headwind. It really makes it very difficult. The tailwind, believe it or not, actually suits a real climber like the guy we're looking at here, Darwin Atapuma. Climbers can just produce such a higher speed when they've got a tailwind going up some of these mountains.
Steady riding now, but Roglic is here. They're saying it's now 1 minute back to the rider we're looking at Puma. 55 minutes to 55 seconds rather, 3 riders, and then that yellow jersey group. Warren Barguil, any points will do just to confirm himself as a clear leader in the King of the Mountains. Thomas Gent has 61 now. Warren Barguil, a couple of points here would lift him up on his 117 currently.
Bardet's going now on the right-hand side of the road for a look at that now. He's not scared at all of the reputation of Froome, and Froome has now got to respond to this. Rigoberto Urán in the lime green jersey, he's seen this acceleration by Froome and says, I want to go too.
Barguil wants 23 seconds to take the yellow jersey. Froome has taken a while, but he's winding it up. And don't forget, this is happening around 4 kilometres for these riders from the summit. Time to open the gap. And for some reason, the champion of Italy on the left there with the green top to his jersey didn't respond to this move. And immediately Rigoberto Urán did.
Yeah, just watch that. That's a great position, about 5th position. And Rigoberto Urán didn't go straight away, but that was a brilliant attack by the Frenchman. On his wheel now is Froome. They're just catching up to one of the riders from BMC. Aru is on the defensive here, number 51. So too Louis Meintjes, so too Simon Yates, number 89.
Well, the private battle between 61 and 89 for that white jersey, but I think they need to help Aru here and get themselves up because they're sitting overall in 8th and 6th positions themselves. Aru looks as though he's not enjoying this high climb at all. Look at these riders going out. The yellow jersey and the 3rd place rider, Bardet, is there.
If there's any question about the allegiance of Mikel Landa, it's proof there. He's come straight to the front. He's seen the attacks to Chris Froome, and as soon as he's come back to the group, he's gone immediately to the front to set the pace making. Aru has recovered. He's back with the yellow jersey group. A few ringing of the alarm.
Well, second attack, Bardet, and immediately this time Froome knew this would happen, and Rigoberto Urán has gone. Dan Martin's now kicked again, and once again Fabio Aru in 2nd overall this morning is on the defensive. A chance for everybody to move up, but he's trying to get back on.
Well, that is Aru there, and again Romain Bardet knows what he wants to do here. He starts the day in 3rd place, and look at Mikel Landa coming right up there. He wants to stay with Chris Froome for as long as possible. That's a rider wearing number 6. Wow, what a lieutenant to have in a race like this.
Oh, he looks so smooth. Just watching Warren Barguil look over his shoulder and sees them coming back up to him here. I think Martin's going on the right as we looked. Martin is gone, he's on the left, now in the blue. And again, now what's Chris Froome going to do? He's going to try and hurt them, I think, because he's chasing Dan Martin.
He's not letting anybody go at all. Landa not in too much difficulty there. He was caught out by the acceleration, but he claws his way back onto the tail of that group. The one rider they really want to try and eliminate here is their rider just on the front of this three-man group, the Italian champion, second overall at the start of the day for 18 seconds now. He's battling with his machine here. This is courage.
This is great courage, and he knows, and he's not far from the summit of the Col de Galibia. Then it's all downhill, so he's got to keep gritting his teeth and hanging on. It's easy to say, sat in the commentary box. They're bringing back Warren Barguil now. Dan Martin continues to really fight this. And Chris Froome has got himself into second wheel and locked in. Aru is just literally clawing his way back.
Simon Yates is in difficulty just at the bottom of the screen, and Louis Meintjes, well, he's got a good buffer, Simon Yates. He had 4 minutes advantage over Louis Meintjes at the start of the day, but it's the first time we've seen this youngster from the north of England crack.
I thought he was getting better and better these last 3 days, but there's number 61, Louis Meintjes, trying now to get back a little bit of time. Remember, tomorrow we finish atop the Col d'Izoire, one of the most fabled mountains in the Tour de France history. We've never finished on the top before.
Oh, the face there of Fabio Aru.
Dan Martin goes. Chris looks over who's going, and he missed that one because Dan Martin kicked when Chris Froome was looking the other way.
I've never seen Dan Martin ride like this since he came across the Team Quick-Step Floors. He's a changed man.
What about Aru?
Oh, Aru is fighting just to stay in contact. He's doing everything, but every time there's an acceleration, he just cannot stick with the acceleration. But he won't give up, Phil. He's second overall. He's fighting. I mean, he's really paying respect to that tricolour jersey that's on his shoulders. Champion of Italy is a very special thing for that man.
100%. Inside 3 kilometres to go to the top of this mountain now. Now Aru is really taking his time. If there's another attack in that lead group, it might crack Aru, but they don't know that just yet. Magnificent race here. Still, these 4 leaders of the Tour de France are still together. 29 seconds of spread. Let's forget this man here doing the ride of his life in his very first Tour de France. Primož Roglič, former ski jumper who crashed out of that sport and is now a brilliant cyclist.
Second place on the road in the summit, towards the summit of the Col du Galibier. This is Darwin Atapuma, rides for UAE. He's a teammate, by the way, let's not forget, of the South African rider Louis Meintjes, who's in that battle behind with this group. Dan Martin, unbelievable. Chris Froome has responded to everything in the pale blue shoulders there. That is Romain Bardet. Looks pretty concentrated, but again, Fabio Aru, the Italian champion, number 51, is clawing his way back to this group. The one man who's been caught out, in fact, is Louis Meintjes.
He's gone to the back now.
It's Simon Yates, sorry.
Simon Yates has gone completely just at the moment, but Dan Martins, you know, they're closing in on the Contador group. They're only 40-odd seconds behind that group now before the descent starts. Well, they've all thrown their weight behind the attacks, but they haven't cracked Chris Froome yet, that's for sure. They're saying 1 minute 10 now over Atapuma for Primož, and I think if our cameras can get back, they're starting to attack each other back there as well. Yellow jersey group timed at 2:17. This is Atapuma, gone back to 1:11, losing ground to Roglič at the moment. Roglič could be doing the ride of his life. Once he's over the top, it's into the highest gear you've got and fly.
This is the third group on the road. That's Alberto Contador, Serge Pauls and Matthias Frank. But look at the time gap there, almost 1 minute and 40 seconds behind Primož Roglič. And very shortly they're going to have the yellow jersey group of Chris Froome and the rest of the contenders breathing down their necks.
Fanning out as Warren Barguil goes this time. Now, is there going to be a reaction because he's not on the wanted list of the boys in this group? They're hitting each other. Will they use him as a stepping stone? He's trying to get away for some King of the Mountains points on this outside category climb.
He's just got to keep going, Phil. He's got to keep chipping away, because I'm sure he, like us, does not really know how many riders from that original group of more than 30 men up the road at the start of the day are still surviving. But he realises one of the closest challenges to him now is this man, Primož Roglič, who before the top of the climb is 57 points behind Warren Barguil, but over the top there's 20 points available. That's why Barguil is going crazy in the group behind.
Still leading the charge over the mountain at the moment is the Slovenian Primož Roglič, riding his first Tour de France and only his second Grand Tour. This is Contador. He won 2 Tours de France. Serge Powell always looks tired, yet he's still in there. And coming back, Simon Yates just keeps that number 61 in his eyesight. That's the man he's at rivals with for the white jersey competition.
Well, again, you see such experience.